The air in SynovaTech's glass headquarters was suffocating. A single error message had brought the company's entire system to its knees. Millions of dollars at stake, investors pacing the halls, employees whispering that this was the end. The brightest engineers in the building had tried and failed, their confidence shattered. And at the center of it all stood Richard Hale, the CEO, a man whose reputation had been built on control. For the first time in his career, he looked powerless. The company's crown jewel, SynovaTech, had collapsed. Not a glitch, not a slowdown, but a full-scale blackout. Servers locked, networks frozen, critical data vanished into silence. Panic surged through every floor. Hale's phone buzzed with furious investors, news outlets were already circling, and his empire, the empire he had built brick by brick, was slipping away. Experts with degrees from the most prestigious universities lined the room, typing furiously, throwing out theories about foreign hacks and insider sabotage. Nothing worked. Every passing minute meant more losses, more doubt, and more humiliation. And yet, in the corner, invisible to everyone, stood Samuel Carter, the janitor. He'd worked there for years, polishing marble floors no one noticed. That morning, his teenage son, Marcus, had come along to help carry cleaning supplies. Marcus wasn't supposed to be there. Just a high school senior with a love for coding, dismissed by teachers, overlooked by peers. But as alarms blared and voices rose, his sharp eyes studied the chaos, seeing patterns others missed. He leaned toward his father, whispering what he thought was the real problem. A synchronization fault buried in the software itself, not an outside attack. Samuel hesitated. He knew the rules of this world. Men like him weren't heard, and their children even less. Still, he gathered his courage and told a manager the response was cruel. "We don't take advice from janitors' kids," the man sneered. Laughter rippled through the room, sharp as broken glass. Marcus shrank back, his face burning. But humiliation didn't silence him. It sharpened him. He kept watching and thinking until a desperate idea formed. Hours passed. Engineers gave up, their theories exhausted. Hale's fists slammed against the boardroom table, his empire crumbling before his eyes. And then, through the despair, Marcus did something no one expected. He walked straight up to the CEO. His voice trembled, but his words cut through the noise. He explained the flaw and sketched the solution on a scrap of paper. At first, Hale just stared. This was absurd. A janitor's son telling him what his best engineers could not? But in the boy's eyes, Hale saw something he hadn't seen in hours: clarity. And with nothing left to lose, the CEO made a decision that stunned the room. He handed Marcus access to a terminal. Gasps erupted. Engineers protested. But Hale silenced them. Let him try. Marcus's hands shook as they hovered over the keyboard. The screen glowed, lines of code flashing like a storm of symbols. He typed quickly, tracing the fault, weaving a risky override sequence. The room buzzed with doubt, whispers thick with disdain. And then it happened, a flicker. One monitor blinked back to life, then another. The cascade of errors slowed, then stopped. Servers hummed and networks reconnected. In minutes, the entire system synchronized. SynovaTech was alive again. For a heartbeat, the room was frozen in disbelief. Then cheers erupted. Not from everyone. Some faces remained hard, refusing to accept what they'd seen. But Richard Hale stepped forward, his expression raw with awe. He gripped Marcus's hand firmly in full view of the cameras. A headline shifted instantly. CEO saved by janitor's son. Samuel, standing quietly in the back, felt tears sting his eyes. A lifetime of invisibility, of being overlooked, lifted in that single moment as his son proved what the world tried so hard to deny. Offers poured in for Marcus. Interviews. Scholarships and recognition he had never imagined. But he didn't linger in the spotlight. He returned to what he loved: coding, building, and creating. Determined to prove again and again that brilliance has no title, no pedigree, and no color. The story spread far beyond SynovaTech. Parents told their children, never let anyone tell you what you can't do. Communities whispered of possibility. And behind closed doors, executives across industries asked themselves the question they'd avoided for too long. How many brilliant minds have we dismissed simply because of who they belong to? Because Marcus's victory wasn't just about fixing a broken system. It was about exposing one. And so the question remains, not just for SynovaTech, but for all of us. How much progress have we lost to prejudice? And how much could we gain if only we chose to see the worth in everyone?